were there any points through the race through the swim where you felt like you may not be able to do it, or were you feeling pretty positive the whole way through? Because I remember with Rottnest, and I was starting to get hypothermia, so I think that was the main cause of me just really starting to, hurt through it. But I was just like, I had about, I don't know, 5-6 Ks to go, and I was just like, I wanted to get out, and I had to tell myself that I was so lucky to be here, and just like, convince myself that I was fortunate to be doing this thing as much as I was hating it. So what were you like throughout the swim in terms of your positivity or dark thoughts? Where were you with that?
No, pretty positive, Brent. I think, I'm a very big believer in surrounding yourself with people who want you to be successful. So I've spent the whole time building up, I've got great people around me. We've got a great community in Wellington of people. So I hadn't really had any negative people in my head building up into it. And what we were talking about earlier of Phil sort of making me do some preparation, which convinced me that I could do it physically. And it is an easy swim, right? It's not that, awful things happened. I mean, there were two moments where I almost lost my balance. So one of them was this moment where it got very choppy just after dawn, and I hadn't anticipated that. And it sort of just caught me by surprise a bit. And I think if that had gone on for another sort of 6 or 7 hours, I think I would have found that quite hard. And there was another moment when you're about 35k into the swim, and there's a point, it's really the first feature that you've seen for about 15 kilometers, and there's actually quite a strong current coming off the point, which I remember from last year when I was crewing for these friends, but I'd completely forgotten about it. And we were swimming along, and I'd done all the maths in my head of how long it was going to take to get there, and nothing was happening. I was sort of thinking, oh, what's going on? And at one of the feeding stops, I said, I'm behind. What's my technique gone wrong? And Phil said, no, this is the current. You just gotta swim through it, and then you'll be fine when you get on the other side of it. And again, I think it was just the fact I hadn't anticipated that, so I'd almost got a little bit rose tinted in the way I'd thought my way through the swim. But in terms of the discomfort and the fatigue and, sort of the demons in your head and everything, I think I prepared quite well for that. So, there really wasn't any point where I thought I wasn't going to manage to do it. And I suppose, again, that's not unlike my Ironman races. I never did particularly well, but I was never really thinking I wasn't going to finish. It was more a question of how good a job I'd make of it.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's really good to hear. And you're very, when you talk about it, you make it sound like it's this thing you just did on the weekend, and it's, less of a deal than I think it really is. But, I think that's all part of your personality and your character. And because I remember, and you'll remember this too, obviously, is the frog challenge that we did.
Swim run.
The swim run. So this was, I'm going to get my dates wrong here, but I'm going to say like 2016 maybe. Possibly 2000. Yeah, probably 2016.
Yeah.
So we did this swim run race down, I think it was Rosebud it started from, down in the Mornington Peninsula. And it just it took all day long, and it ended up being like 30 something K of running and nearly 10K of wading through the water and a little bit of swimming, because it was pretty low tide, I think. Just chipped away at it, and eventually got there in the end, and just always had a really positive about the race and all of it. And so you just get on with the job and go about it.